Hello and welcome to Express News with me, Deepika, your daily half-an-hour window that brings you all the latest news and updates from the country and the world in 30 minutes. Let's begin. India's lower house on Tuesday passed the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Bill 2023 and Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bills. The Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Act provides reservation in appointment of state government posts and admission to professional institutions for certain reserved categories. The Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019 provides for the reorganization of the state of Jammu and Kashmir into the union territories of J&K and Ladakh. The bill increases the total number of seats in the Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly from 83 to 90. India's National Cybercrime Threat Analytics Unit identified over 100 websites involved in organized investment, task-based part-time job frauds. The fraudulent websites have been blocked under Information Technology Act 2000. The 8th edition of the Global Technology Summit is taking place in New Delhi. The summit is convened to discuss questions related to technology, its impact on geopolitics, and policy issues related to new, critical, and emerging technologies. India's Minister for Electronics and Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, said that India considers artificial intelligence as the biggest and most significant invention. Dr. R.K. Ranjan, India's Minister of State for External Affairs and Education, emphasized on the urgency for a groundbreaking innovation model in the Global South for future-ready human resources. Nandan Nilekani, Chairman and co-founder of Infosys and founding Chairman of UIDAI, highlighted the importance of digital public infrastructure and how it can make difference to the lives of the people. India and Kenya took their bilateral ties up several notches on Tuesday at the end of the delegation-level talks between the two sides in New Delhi. Documents for 5 memorandums of understanding were exchanged in the presence of the leaders of both the countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also announced India's decision to provide Kenya with $250 million as line of credit to modernize its agriculture. Kenyan President William Samoei Ruto appreciated India's efforts in making the African Union a part of the G20 and bolstering the voice of the Global South. The government has lashed out at the opposition for using foul language and blaming the EVMs for their recent electoral losses. Indian Minister of Information and Broadcasting Anurag Singh Thakur questioned the opposition. India's ruling party, the BJP, has been holding multiple meetings regarding the formation of governments in the Indian states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, where the BJP has won. Name of the candidates will be declared soon. Under the Indian Prime Minister's initiative of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra being developed in Jhansi, awareness programs have been created to inform various public welfare schemes run by the central government. Indian Prime Minister's Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra reached Moti Mahal in India's Agra. Free health checkup medicines were also distributed. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra was also organized in India's national capital, Delhi. A huge crowd gathered to receive the information related to schemes and programs run by the Indian government for them. Indian Prime Minister conveyed his respectful tribute to Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar on Parinirvan Day. He said Ambedkar was an immortal champion of social harmony who dedicated his life for the welfare of the exploited and deprived. Indian Army held an idea and innovation competition and seminar titled Inno Yodha 2023 in New Delhi. The event signifies the importance accorded by the Indian Army in embracing modernization and technological advancement through indigenization. Third edition of India Internet Governance Forum took place in New Delhi's Bharat Mandapam on Tuesday. The event focused on digital governance and also addressed risks and challenges that may arise in the coming future in digital global domain. A moment of profound national pride as Garba of Gujarat is inscribed in UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage. In Jammu and Kashmir, Northern Railways conducted a successful trial run of an electric train for the first time in Ramban district. The train service will reduce hardships of people residing in far-off and tough terrains. Moving on to business and economy, domestic benchmark indices surged to new peaks on Wednesday as Sensex gained 357 points to settle at an all-time high of 69,653. Nifty rose 82.6 points to settle at 20,937. The Indian rupee rose 5 paise to close at 83.32 against the US dollar. Gold future maturing on the 5th of February next year stood at 62,222 rupees per 10 grams on the Multi-Commodity Exchange of India Limited. Silver futures maturing on the 5th of March next year stood at 75,290 rupees per kilogram on the MCX. Oil prices were steady on Wednesday, with Brent crude falling 5 cents to $77.15 per barrel as investors weighed the effectiveness of an extension in OPEC plus cuts in tightening supply. S&P Global has projected that India would become the third largest economy in the world by the year 2030. Based on IMF data, India is currently placed at the 5th spot with the size of its economy at over $3.7 trillion. Global Bio India 2023, with the theme Bio Innovation to Bio Manufacturing, saw deliberations in New Delhi over the last 3 days. The event witnessed participants from over 30 countries discussing ways to transform human lives using biosciences to bioeconomy. Rating agency Moody's slapped a downgrade warning at China's credit rating on Tuesday, stating that costs to bail out local governments and state firms would weigh on the world's #2 economy. Members of the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union have approved a 3-year contract with major Hollywood studios on Tuesday that provides pay raises, streaming bonuses, and guardrails around the use of artificial intelligence in filmmaking. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday said that he had heard stories of sexual abuse at a meeting with the hostages returned by Hamas during a recent pause in the fighting in Gaza. He called out on the women and human rights organization to act on it. Israeli forces raided the West Bank city of Yenin on Tuesday. Israeli forces also stopped and searched ambulances going through the city. 5 persons were reportedly injured during the raid. As Israel continues its one of the biggest ground combat in Gaza since a truce with Hamas was called off last week, its troops have now surrounded Khan Yunis. The Israeli forces also dubbed the day as the most intense day of fighting since its ground operation started in late October. The US is going to impose visa bans on extremist Israeli settlers following attacks against Palestinians in the West Bank. It is a rare rebuke from the Biden administration for its Middle East ally. The International Red Cross President Mirjana Spolarek traveled to Gaza on Monday, where she called for a military de-escalation in Gaza and for all the sides to find solutions other than military to end the conflict. The European Union is facing a huge risk of terrorist attacks during the Christmas period. The bloc's Home Affairs Division warned on Tuesday ahead of a meeting of European Union Home Affairs ministers in Brussels. The European Union's Home Affairs chief said that the assessment is based on the steep increase in extremist propaganda circulating online, as well as the rising threat level in member states amid recent attacks in Belgium and France. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky cancelled plans to appeal directly to the US lawmakers for new aid on Tuesday. He cancelled it as a partisan battle over immigration policy threatened to derail President Joe Biden's request for billions of dollars for Kyiv's fight against Russia. The US House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican, said funds for Ukraine must be tied to transformative changes in the US immigration policy. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said he would try to break an impasse over additional congressional funding for Ukraine, offering Republicans the chance to add an amendment on border policy to the legislation. Amid a darkening outlook for Ukraine with uncertainty swirling over the passage of major assistance packages, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said Kyiv did not expect wartime support from its partners to decrease. U.S. Treasury Chief Janet Yellen said on Tuesday that the United States would be responsible for Ukraine's defeat if the U.S. Congress fails to approve the Biden administration's latest multi-billion-dollar funding request for the war-torn country. In a ray of hope, an 8-year-old Roman Oleksiy has returned to school in the western Ukrainian city of Lviv. This comes as another step towards an unlikely recovery from life-threatening injuries sustained last year. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is set to face intense scrutiny in the COVID-19 inquiry case. He will likely issue apologies for government shortcomings while also defending his administration's action. Testimony from previous witnesses revealed a chaotic Downing Street. This pivotal moment will be closely watched as the nation seeks accountability and closure. Britain's Home Secretary James Cleverly has signed an international treaty with Rwanda to deport asylum seekers. The UK Supreme Court ruled the government's original plan illegal due to the risk of Rwanda returning asylum seekers to their country of origin. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said on Tuesday that he would authorize oil exploration in an area around the Essequibo River, the territory currently under dispute with Guyana. In Manhattan, AI industry experts are gathering for the 8th annual AI Summit New York to forecast industry's trajectory. The summit, spanning 2 days, unites knowledge leaders, policymakers, and corporate executives for discourse and workshops. The death toll from Indonesia's Merapi volcano eruption has left 22 people dead and 1 still missing. Search operations have resumed today for the 1 remaining missing climber. Supporters of Peruvian former President Alberto Fujimori held celebrations after court's order for his immediate release while upholding his pardon sentence. He had been serving a 25-year sentence on the charges of human rights abuse and corruption. With at least 12 people reportedly killed, the southern and coastal districts of East Indian state of Odisha have been put on alert on Tuesday night with heavy rainfall forecast as severe cyclone Megham moved northwards after its landfall in Andhra Pradesh. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote on social media that his thoughts were with the families of those who have lost their loved ones due to cyclone Megham, especially in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Puducherry. Rescue and relief operations are underway in the affected areas with local authorities and disaster response teams working to assist those affected by the cyclone and subsequent flooding. Air Force Station in India's Tambaram continues to provide humanitarian assistance to cyclone-affected areas. 4 helicopters carried out airdrops covering 16 locations of North and South Chennai. South Indian city of Chennai received heavy rains due to cyclonic storm Megham that left the city inundated. Around 4,000 cubics of water was released from Chennai's Chimbarakam water reservoir on Tuesday. The city's water level is expected to recede as the water outflow has now been stopped since the inflow into the reservoir has reduced. For the first time since 2015, the water level of the lake reached 23.45 feet, close to its maximum capacity of 24 feet. Residents in Tanzania, Manyara region are reeling from the aftermath of heavy rains that swept through the area, leaving a trail of destruction and claiming at least 63 lives. The Tanzania floods indicate extreme weather events that have ravaged parts of East Africa since the rainy season began, with experts warning that the rains are set to continue into the start of the new year. The death toll from Indonesia's Merapi volcano eruption has left 22 people dead and 1 still missing. Search operations resumed on Wednesday for the 1 remaining missing climber. According to the United Nations, Nigeria loses an estimated 3.7% of its forest each year. It has lost 1.14 million hectares of tree cover from 2001 to 2021, equivalent of 587 million tons of carbon emissions. COP28 is underway in Dubai. The conference's third day, conference's day was dedicated to indigenous people, where their crucial role is safeguarding the environment that was acknowledged. UN Climate Chief Simon Steele told the countries on Wednesday to agree on ambitious action to tackle global warming at the COP28 climate summit rather than falling into the trap of point scoring and lowest common denominator politics. During a visit to the West Manggarai Regency, Indonesia's President Joko Widodo joined a group of students in tree planting initiative. He termed this as a practical step to address climate change. A British research ship en route to the Weddell Sea on its first scientific cruise discovered the world's largest iceberg, measuring around 3,900 square kilometers and standing 400 meters tall. Amazon streaming unit Twitch on Tuesday said it will shut down operations in South Korea in February next year due to high operating costs and network fee. Iran set up a rocket with a test-living space capsule on Wednesday as the country pressed on with the plans to send astronauts into space. The announcement came 10 years after Iran announced it had sent 2 live monkeys into space and brought them back safely. A Japanese firm is conducting the country's first test of using floating solar panels to generate power. About 100 solar panels had been floated into Tokyo Bay in November. The test will measure the difference in power generation capacities between land and offshore facilities. The company has planned to start generating electricity using the panels next spring. A color-changing textile embedded with a tiny camera that uses artificial intelligence has been developed in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's Laboratory for Artificial Intelligence and Design makes use of deep learning and computer vision that helps control the fabric through hand and body gestures, mobile devices, or remote control. The National Archives of India has kicked off a book fair and an exclusive exhibition come sale at their heritage building in the national capital. The fair will continue till the 15th of December. A bike rally was organized in northern India's Jammu and Kashmir to create awareness about cybercrimes. The world's first nighttime self-driving bus has begun its service in South Korea's capital, Seoul. The self-driving bus currently operates on a 9.8 kilometers stretch. Britain's King Charles attended an Advent service and Christmas reception at the Coptic Orthodox Church Centre in the UK on Tuesday. The Princess of Wales officially opened the new Evelina London Children's Day Surgery Unit in London on Tuesday. The unit will help treating an additional 2,300 children per year. Zookeepers at England's Whipsnade Zoo are spreading Christmas joy by concealing tasty treats for meerkats. This creative approach aims to engage the meerkats' natural curiosity and encourage their digging skills. Peruvian archaeologists have discovered 3 Inca burial bundles belonging to 2 adults and possibly a child in the north of the capital of Lima. The discovery of the Inca burials is expected to shed new lights on the Inca tribe's lifestyle in Peru 500 years ago. Chilean artist Mauricio Bastos is finding fame by launching a viral trend with a song called Nostalgia, using artificial intelligence to modify Puerto Rican rapper and singer Bad Bunny's vocals. The British Museum has sent Athens an ancient Greek vase called Maidias Hydria, along with 7 artifacts for an exhibition at the Acropolis Museum in Greece. Bollywood celebrities glammed up for the grand premiere of Netflix film called The Archies at the Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Centre in India's Mumbai city. Indian actors Sayani Gupta and Shriya Pilgaonkar have been appointed as Goodwill Ambassadors for All Living Things Environmental Film Festival, India's largest platform dedicated to environmental cinema. Fresh posters from the upcoming Hindi aerial action film called Fighter, introducing characters played by actors Deepika Padukone and Anil Kapoor, have been unveiled. Veteran US singer Brenda Lee's hit Christmas number, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, has taken the top spot on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart 65 years after its initial release in 1958. TV nominations for the 29th Annual Critics' Choice Awards have been announced. The US drama series called The Morning Show leads with 6 nods, followed by Succession with 5. American actor Tom Hanks brought his love of space to a new immersive show called The Moonwalkers, a journey with Tom Hanks in London. The cast and the makers of the 6th and final season of Netflix's royal drama called The Crown got together in London on Tuesday to bid farewell to the series. South Korea's YG Entertainment announced on Wednesday that all 4 members of K-pop girl group Blackpink have renewed their contracts with the label. Hollywood stars graced Elle magazine's 2023 Women Red Carpet in Los Angeles. The ceremony honored the women who have made significant impact in various fields of the entertainment industry. British musicians Rod Stewart and Jools Holland treated Londoners to a surprise performance to promote their upcoming album titled Swing Fever, set to release in February next year. Team GB's hope of participating in Paris Olympics faces heartbreak as they failed to better Netherlands' goal difference. Netherlands loses to Nations League finals now. India dished out a dominant display to beat Korea by 4 to win its opening pool match of the FIH Junior Men's Hockey World Cup. Harajit Singh Hundal struck a hat-trick of goals. Indian men's cricket team left for South Africa for their month-long tour to South Africa. The team will tour South Africa from the 10th of December till the 7th of January to play 3 T20Is, 3 ODIs and 2 tests. In Premier League encounter today, Manchester United are all set to face Chelsea at Old Trafford in a mouth-watering clash. Man United midfielder Mason Mount's participation remains in doubt due to calf injury. Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola said he still feels his side are going to win the Premier League for a record 4th year in a row despite drawing their last 3 games. The champions are 3rd point behind Liverpool and 3 adrift of pace setters Arsenal. Argentina's captain Lionel Messi becomes first men's soccer player to be named as Time Athlete of the Year after winning the Ballon d'Or for a record-extending 8th time. Elevating the profile of the sport in the US with his move to Inter Miami, Messi has made history by becoming the first male soccer player to be named as Athlete of the Year by Time. Featherweight champion Amanda Serrano relinquished her WBC title after they refused to allow her to compete in the bouts under same rule set as men's boxing with 12 3-minute rounds. Formula One's governing body announced a compliance probe that drew a furious response from the sports owners, top team Mercedes and one of the most senior women in motorsports. And the storm broke after the FIA issued a surprise statement saying it was looking into reports the team boss had received confidential information from an employee of the commercial rights holder. And with this, it's a wrap here on Express News for now, but news and updates will continue here on DD India, so don't go anywhere. Keep watching and keep tracking DD India for all latest news and updates from the country and the world. Thank you so much for joining us right now. Namaskar.
हो गया इंतजाम।
किसका?
गुड्डी की फीस का।
दिखा। 20,000 का लोन तुरंत। पता है कौन दे रहा है, ब्याज कितना है? लोन विनियमित संस्थानों से ही लें और कर्ज उतना जितनी जरूरत, वो भी जांच कर। हो गया इंतजाम। पगार एडवांस में भेजिए।
आरबीआई कहता है,
सही वित्तीय बर्ताव करे आपका बचाव।
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution.
This series is going to tell stories of such change makers.
Watch Change Makers on DD India.
एक लंबे रक्तपात भरे युग का अंत धारा 370 के समाप्त होने से पहले।
For decades and decades, downtown area of Srinagar has always been symbolic of unrest, turbulence, turmoil, disturbances, and everything that has to do with the disruption.
पहले तो महीने में 20 दिन होता था हड़ताल, अब नहीं होती।
I'm right now standing in the middle of the Jama Masjid market, and this is how weekday here looks like.
जिनको होगा 1-2 करोड़ टर्नओवर है, बिल्कुल कैश टर्नओवर।
बंद क्या बंद? ये दुकान हालात बिल्कुल ठीक है, बिल्कुल ठीक है, कुछ नहीं होता है।
कश्मीर तो बेनजीर है, हीरा है, दंगा फसाद तो नहीं है।
The making of the Naya Kashmir or New Kashmir.
Turning crisis into opportunity, transforming ideas into action, stories of real change, tales of sustainable solution.
This series is going to tell stories of such change makers.
Watch Change Makers on DD India.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times. In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic.
It's 7:30 in the evening across India. I am Tanvi Taneja. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. We'll bring you the day's big stories from across India and the world. My colleague Nick Harper is joining me from Washington, D.C. Nick, very good to have you on the show.
Good morning, Tanvi. It's 9 a.m. here in Washington, D.C. It's 3 in the afternoon across Central Europe. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Leaders in the AI space are meeting in New York. We'll bring you the details, and we'll also bring you the latest news from the war in Ukraine. But first, the headlines.
Israel forces continue the offensive against Hamas in southern Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu urges all to speak up on Hamas's sexual violence against Israeli women on October the 7th. US President Joe Biden says that part of his motivation to run for a second term in 2024 is to prevent Donald Trump from returning as president. Says he's unsure of his re-election if Trump was not running. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson apologizes for the loss of life during the coronavirus pandemic inquiry. Says he underestimated the pace and scale of the COVID-19 challenge.
But I understand the feelings of these victims and their families, and I am deeply sorry for the pain and the loss and the suffering of those victims.
And India's Home Minister Amit Shah asserts Pakistan-occupied Kashmir belongs to India. 2 bills related to Jammu and Kashmir passed in the lower house. Now, first news of the Israel-Hamas conflict. The Israeli army released videos on Wednesday showing ground troops operating in Gaza and conducting aerial strikes on Hamas targets. This comes just a day after the military reached the heart of southern Gaza. The footage shows soldiers engaged in combat in the town of Khan Yunis in residential areas, armored vehicles and tanks firing ammunition. A video filmed inside a classroom showed soldiers revealing what the Israeli army says was an explosive device that was placed inside a school. Meanwhile, the Israeli Defense Forces troops on Tuesday discovered one of the largest cache of weapons during their operations in northern Gaza Strip. The cache, which was located near a health clinic and a school, included dozens of anti-tank missiles and explosives, long-range rockets and grenades, and several drones. The IDF says some of the weapons were destroyed, while others were taken to Israel for further investigation.
Last night, the 50th Battalion had uncovered many weapons in the area we are in now. In the weapon stockpile, we can see hundreds of anti-tank missiles and other strategic weapons, such as unmanned drone and long-range missiles. We are here in the heart of residential neighborhood. We can see near us a big complex of schools.
Now, as Israeli Defense Forces march on with their Gaza operations, the army spokesperson called on the international community to take urgent action to help free hostages. He added that every minute of hostage captivity endangered their lives.
As the IDF expands its operations to dismantle Hamas in Gaza, we have not lost sight, not for one moment, of our critical mission to rescue our hostages, to do everything in our power to bring our hostages home. This is an urgent call for action. The international community must take action. The Red Cross must have access to the hostages that are in the hands of Hamas. 138 hostages, children, women, men, the elderly, have been in Hamas captivity for over 60 days. In brutal and inhumane conditions every day. Every hour, every minute is critical.
On to America now. U.S. President Joe Biden turned 81 years old last month. In the latest, Biden said that he was not sure he would be seeking re-election if his Republican competitor Donald Trump did not also contest. My colleague Nick Harper is in Washington, D.C. He gives us more on this and other stories making headlines around the world. Nick, Biden again painting Trump as dangerous for American democracy?
Thanks, Tanvi. Yes, that's right. It seems to be the latest attack line from the current president. Joe Biden has said part of his motivation to run for a second term in 2024 is to prevent Donald Trump from returning to the White House. Now, Biden has made those remarks even as Democratic voters have expressed their concerns regarding the president's age. Biden applauded the former Republican Senator Liz Cheney, who has warned this week that the United States will be sleepwalking into dictatorship if former President Trump is re-elected.